If you've been doing manifestation work for years, trying every technique from vision boards, scripting, visualization, mental rehearsal, and you're still waiting for reality to catch up to your desires, then what I'm about to share is going to piss off every manifestation coach on the internet. Because this one exercise made everything I'd been doing for the past 5 years look like child's play. And honestly, it's going to make you realize that you've been trying to manifest with your mind when you should be manifesting with your nervous system. And I'll be honest, I was that person who had manifestation down to a science. Like I could visualize so clearly that I would get goosebumps. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. I understood quantum physics, neuroscience, parallel realities, quantum jumping, esoteric theories, everything. But here's what was driving me absolutely insane. I could feel my desired reality. Like during meditation, I'd be so connected to the version of myself that was successful, abundant, in the perfect relationship, my dream life. But I was basically having an affair with myself. Because the second I would open my eyes, gone. I was back to being regular old Kevin, checking for signs and synchronicities about my manifestation, making decisions from that limited mindset that got me into this mess in this first place. And I started to realize I was living in two different realities. There was meditation Kevin, who was confident, abundant, unstoppable, confident. And then there was real world Kevin, still struggling with the same patterns, same problems, still feeling like I was pretending to be someone I wasn't. And I was exhausting, honestly. Like I was this amazing person for 40 minutes a day, maybe an hour a day. Then I would spend the rest of the 23 hours trying to convince myself it was real. I was catfishing myself, okay? And it was driving me crazy because I knew the science worked. I'd seen the testimonials. I understood the principles better than most people teaching them. But it was like there was this invisible force field around my limitations that I couldn't break through, no matter how perfectly I executed my visualization, how much I felt elevated emotions. It was like my body was addicted to being the old me, even though my mind desperately wanted to be someone else. I was like basically in an abusive relationship with my own nervous system. But that's when I discovered something that changed everything. And it wasn't another manifestation technique or some ancient secret that the gurus don't want you to know. No. But it was this method that actually cleared the invisible distortion patterns that were sabotaging my results. Let's just say that. I'm talking about the unconscious programming, the generational beliefs, the cellular memories that we are literally broadcasting, that are literally broadcasting a limitation from my nervous system. No matter what I was trying to manifest with my mind, that was being broadcast. And so today I'm going to walk you through the exact identity frequency mapping process that finally made my manifestations permanent instead of temporary. And let me tell you, this is not about thinking your way into a new reality, but this is about rewiring your nervous system so your desired identity becomes your automatic identity. And let me warn you, this is going to go deeper than anything you've probably tried before. Because here's the thing. We don't have a manifestation problem. We have a distortion problem or an interference problem. And when you clear that, everything changes. Everything changes. Now, before you think I'm some weird guy or another guy who discovered one of this weird trick that manifestation coaches hate, though honestly, you will probably hate this, or they will probably hate this because it makes their complicated systems look like expensive placebos. So let me tell you how I figured this out. I was what you call a manifestation overachiever. I invested in every course, every book, every technique. I could quote quantum physics, transformation. I understood everything, right? But my results, inconsistent at best, non-existent at worst. I was like a really, really well-educated failure. I could explain why I was stuck, but I couldn't actually get unstuck. And I remember this one moment. I was explaining to my friend why my manifestations weren't working. I was using all this sophisticated language like, well, you see, I'm experiencing some resistance in my field. And there may seem to be some ancestral patterns that I'm clearing, according to my calculations. Hey, what's up, my friend? Kevin here. Just a quick heads up for all the entrepreneurs and professionals watching this. If you have been feeling stuck, but you know you're capable of more, I've got a few spots open right now for my one-on-one mentorship. In this program, I'll personally guide you through my identity frequency mapping process to break through the patterns holding you back so you can create the results that you've been chasing. Whether that's more income, more freedom to spend time with your loved ones, or finally living the life that you've envisioned for so long. Now, I can only work with a handful of clients at a time to give you my full attention, and spots tend to actually go very quickly. So if you are interested in making the shift now, then please click on the link below this video, book a call, and let's see if we're a good fit to work together. Now back to the video. And she's looking at me, like, shut the fuck up. It's like, Kev, you've been experiencing resistance for 3 years. At what point do you admit that you have no idea what you're doing? And I'm like, oh, crushed. But what she said sent me down a rabbit hole studying not just manifestation, but neuroscience, somatic therapy, trauma research, cellular memory. I became so obsessed with understanding why some people could have one breakthrough session and completely transform their lives, while others like me could have hundreds of mystical experiences but still be stuck in the same patterns. And what I discovered changed everything. And it wasn't about understanding more or trying harder or meditating longer. No. It was about clearing the invisible distortion patterns that are literally sabotaging my electromagnetic field from the inside out. Whew, let's go deep. You see, our identity broadcasts a specific frequency 24/7. Well, we are broadcasting 24/7. What if that frequency is corrupted by unconscious programming? You're basically trying to tune your radio while someone else is broadcasting static on the same channel. And so let me break down exactly what identity frequency mapping is and why it's completely different from every manifestation technique you've ever tried. But this is not about traditional manifestation. It's not even about that. It's a different category itself. It's about nervous system reprogramming at the identity level. Because let me tell you, most manifestation techniques try to override your current programming with positive thoughts or elevated emotions. But identity frequency mapping clears the invisible distortions in your electromagnetic field that keep you broadcasting limitation instead of infinite potential, which is who you truly are. When these patterns are clear, your desired reality becomes your natural state, not your goal. You're not trying to become someone new. You are removing the distortion that has been blocking who you actually are. Wholeness, oneness, your infinite nature. And there was a rock bottom moment in my life when I discovered this. I was doing abundance work for a month, feeling wealthy during meditations, visualizing success. But every time I would take an action from this elevated state, I would hit a wall. That's when I realized I wasn't just trying to manifest abundance. I was trying to manifest abundance while carrying programming that said money has to be a struggle to be earned. And that was my dad's belief. Oh, by the way, that my dad's belief was you have to work hard for money. So these weren't just thoughts I could think my way out of. These were energetic imprints stored in my nervous system, broadcasting limitation 24/7. That is like trying to play beautiful music on the radio, but it's picking up 3 different stations at once. You're gonna get chaos. So identity frequency mapping uses specific techniques to identify and clear this interference. You literally feel old patterns leaving your body and new possibilities resurfacing, re-emerging. It's like deleting viruses from your computer, and now you can run a clean and fast operating system. The important thing is that we are not trying to add something to your new identity. No, we are simply removing what doesn't belong. Your desired reality isn't something you need to create, it's something you need to uncover by clearing the distortion. And this brings us to the invisible patterns that have been sabotaging our manifestations without us even knowing it. Because this is the shit. The invisible stuff that has been running our lives from behind the scenes. Because you know you're capable of so much more. But something unseen keeps you stuck in familiar limitations. These are identity distortion patterns, unconscious programming, generational inheritance beliefs, cellular memories that create static in your electromagnetic field. It's like having a computer virus that slows down your entire system and you don't even know it's there. And let me tell you about my own invisible interference patterns, okay? And this is going to sound weird, but you got to stay with me. I was trying to manifest a girlfriend, doing all the right techniques, feeling love during meditation, but during one identity frequency mapping session, I suddenly felt this wave of terror when I imagined being truly loved. And I heard this voice, Not from the universe or not my voice, but a 5-year-old version of me saying, if they really knew you, they would leave. And what I realized instantly, I was carrying not just my own abandonment fears, but my mum's fear of intimacy and probably her mother's before that. So I was trying to manifest love while broadcasting love is dangerous from my nervous system. Like, no wonder relationships kept failing. My electromagnetic field was literally repelling what I was trying to attract. So identity frequency mapping uses specific somatic techniques to make these invisible patterns visible, so you don't have to figure out what's actually wrong with you intellectually. Your body shows you exactly what needs to be cleared through felt experience. And the transformation happens through cellular integration work. You breathe into the resistance, relax into uncomfortable sensations, and you use your nervous system to transmute old patterns. This is not mental work. It's somatic reprogramming that rewires your default responses at the cellular level. These distortion patterns don't just affect your thoughts, but they corrupt your entire electromagnetic signature. You might be consciously trying to broadcast confidence, but if your nervous system is programmed for insecurity, that's what the quantum field receives. And this is why somatic activation processes is so crucial, because transformation has to happen in your body, not just your mind. Remember, 5%, 95%. The body is where the real magic happens. These activation processes is how we actually rewire your nervous system to embody your desired identity instead of just thinking about it. From wanting to being through nervous system rewiring. This is the bridge that most manifestation techniques miss. You have visions, but struggle to consistently embody the person who would achieve it, who would achieve those visions. And so identity frequency mapping solves this through specific breathing techniques, heart-centered awareness, coherence, through integration that makes your future identity in your present reality now. Embodiment, instant embodiment. And I will never forget my first real somatic activation. Instead of just trying to visualize abundance, I was guided to return and actually feel what abundance was like in my nervous system. How would an abundant person breathe? How would they hold their body? How would they make decisions? What would safety feel like in their cells? As I started embodying these sensations, something amazing happened. I felt this old pattern of scarcity literally leave my body like a physical release. And in its place was a returning of the abundance that was naturally there in my nervous system all along. Because your identity broadcasts a specific electromagnetic signature that the quantum field responds to. And identity frequency mapping recalibrates that signature by clearing the distortion and installing new frequency patterns. When your field broadcasts coherently from your desired identity, reality reorganizes to match. You are not forcing anything. You are just expressing your natural frequency without interference. And most manifestation creates temporary elevated feelings that fade faster than our motivation on Mondays. So identity frequency mapping creates permanent cellular changes by working with your nervous system's survival responses. Through guided activations, you literally rewire the neural pathways that keep you in familiar limitations, making transformation permanent instead of temporary. Like my beautiful friend Abhinav, who was doing a manifestation meditation for 165 days with minimal results, and with one identity frequency mapping session, we cleared decades of financial limitation patterns stored in his nervous system. And within 10 days, he received $300,000 that had been stuck with an agency for 6 years, which his lawyers were struggling to get for him. This wasn't temporary. His nervous system was permanently rewired to feel safe with abundance. And true manifestation requires coherence between your conscious desires and unconscious identity. And identity frequency mapping achieves this through specific heart-brain coherence techniques, nervous system regulation, and somatic embodiment practices all at once. When every level of your being is aligned with your desired reality, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. And voila! This is what makes the invisible visible, revealing and clearing the unconscious patterns that have been sabotaging your potential. But we're not over yet. We're not done yet. This is a part that's going to blow your mind. Identity frequency mapping makes the invisible visible by revealing and clearing the unconscious patterns that sabotage your manifestations through awareness and nervous system work. You identify and transmute the distortions that have been blocking your potential, creating space for your desired reality to emerge naturally. You literally feel the moment when old patterns release and new possibilities are now becoming available. It's like suddenly being able to see in color after living in black and white, or getting laser eye surgery or something like that while wearing glasses. So during my own deepest identity frequency mapping session, I experienced something I can only describe as a complete identity embodiment, where layers of limitation that I didn't even know I was carrying just dissolved. There was this moment where I felt my mom's guilt of being, sacrificing to go to heaven, that rich people don't go to heaven, and my dad's belief of success requires hard work, all releasing from my cellular memory simultaneously. And in that space, I felt who I actually am beneath all that conditioning. Natural confident, naturally abundant, naturally worthy of love. It wasn't something I had to become. It was something I had to come home to and remember. And within 48 hours of that session, my reality started shifting. Opportunities appeared that matched my vision, not through effort, but because my identity frequency was now broadcasting potential instead of limitation. And the best part was people started responding to me differently. But most importantly, I felt like myself for the first time in years. Not the self I was trying to become, but the actual self that I truly was. And this was not a temporary high or a peak experience that faded like a mystical experience. No, my nervous system had been permanently rewired. The old patterns were gone, and new neural pathways were established that supported my desired reality. It's like upgrading your entire your operating system. Same hardware, but completely new software that actually supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. Because when your nervous system is clear of distortions, clear of any interference patterns, you create a coherent electromagnetic signal that the quantum field responds to instantly. Instantly. Which means you're not trying to manifest something. You are expressing something that feels natural and familiar to your body. And let me tell you, the beautiful thing about all of this is that transformation affects every area of your life. When you clear the core interference patterns, everything else starts aligning automatically. Your relationships improve. Your health becomes better. Your creativity becomes better. It's like removing something that was blocking a river, okay? Suddenly, oh my God, you can flow naturally again. And it's fast. So here's what I want you to understand. You don't need any more manifestation techniques. You don't even need positive thinking or more willpower or more information. You need to clear the invisible distortion patterns that are sabotaging your electromagnetic field. So identity frequency mapping isn't just about having a breakthrough experience, but it's about permanent integration. When these patterns clear, they're gone. They're gone. They're gone from your nervous system, and your nervous system learns a new way of being that supports your desired reality instead of limiting it. But this work happens through guided sessions where we identify your specific interference patterns and clear them. It's not something you can think your way out of. It has to be experienced in your body. And so if you are ready to stop being sabotaged by the distortions, invisible patterns, if you are tired of temporary manifestation highs that fade back to familiar limitations, then I want to invite you to explore working with me. But keep in mind, this is not a quick fix or a one-time session. Permanent nervous system rewiring requires a structured approach. And through my program, we systematically identify and clear the specific interference patterns that are keeping you stuck, then rewire your nervous system to embody the identity frequency of your desired reality. But here's the thing. Your desired reality isn't something you need to create. It is simply something you need to uncover by clearing what doesn't belong. And when you do, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. So I want to ask you, if you are serious about permanent transformation and ready to invest in clearing these patterns at the deepest level, click on the link in the description and let's see if we resonate. Because you'll be speaking with me or one of my team members. Because it's time. It's time to stop being limited by patterns you can't even see and start expressing who you actually are. But only if you are ready to do the real work required for permanent change.